Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another Sanity stream, the place where you go to gain a little bit of your sanity back in what has become a minefield known as U.S. American politics. My name is Lucius Coal. If you like this type of content and you like this podcast, go down below, hit the like button, subscribe, share, and of course, leave a comment if you think I deserve it. With that said, let's get straight into the show. Keith Olbermann, for those of you who haven't seen this clip, it is absolutely nuts. So rather than just try to break it down for you, let's just listen to see exactly what Keith Olbermann has to say.
Trump can be and must be expunged. The hate he has triggered, the Pandora's box he has opened, they will not be so easily destroyed. So let us brace ourselves. The task is twofold. The terrorist Trump must be defeated, must be destroyed, must be devoured at the ballot box. And then he and his enablers and his supporters and his collaborators and the Mike Lees and the William Barrs and the Sean Hannitys and the Mike Pences and the Rudy Giulianis and the Kyle Rittenhouses and the Amy Coney Barretts must be prosecuted and convicted and removed from our society while we try to rebuild it.
Holy moly. We have broken these people, ladies and gentlemen. These people are off their rocker. Keith Olbermann is an absolute crackpot. Talking about removing Trump supporters from society? Who exactly did that again? Let's think of the great historical figures of our time. Well, there was Adolf Hitler, there was Joseph Stalin, there was Mao. These very, very loving and forgiving leaders of Nazi Germany, the USSR, and Communist China, who simply had some minor disagreements with some of the people inside of their country. This is nuts, and the rhetoric coming from the left right now is very dangerous. And I'm not the type of person to say that, oh, you know what, because someone said something and someone does violence onto another, that person should be blamed. But this is a mainstream media hack. This isn't just your lefty blogger talking about kittens. This guy is a mainstream media hack. Keith Olbermann. Now, he isn't on one of the major news networks anymore, but look at this. He is going off the rails. We have destroyed these people. And you know what? I really think this is a great indicator that they know they are going to lose again. Your mind does not become all mushed up like this and completely just losing all bearing and start attacking Trump supporters. Now, we all remember Hillary Clinton going out there stating that we were all deplorables. But now we're maggots. Now we're not even worth our humanity. Now we have the wrong opinion, the wrong thinking. And because of that, we must be rounded up and removed from society. I don't exactly know what that means. It's probably the lefties' version of ICE, right? They just go out, they find the Trump supporters, they claim that they thought the wrong thing during an election, and then they're going to bring us all and put us into concentration camps. But hey, that's the left, right? Fighting fascism, as you can see at every single turn. Now, for those of you who don't know, unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess fortunately for Joe Biden, fortunately for the lefties, the second debate actually got canceled. And that's because Joe Biden's camp pushed out that they wanted to have a virtual debate. Trump's side said no, the rules had already been established, and that it was going to be live in-person debates. Obviously, Trump can go out there and get tested for his coof, but they're trying to change the rules now, and this really is insane. This is one of these fact checkers, and it's really, really scary what we're getting to, because this is the Ministry of Truth. This is 1984. This is Orwellian in nature. This is the type of thing that is ultimately being pushed right now in the American public as normal, as if people won't actually check the fact checkers. And that's a big problem with this, is that when you say you're going to put out fact checkers, who's going to fact check the fact checkers? I mean, these people have so much power because they understand. So I'm going to go back here. They understand that a lot of our power and a lot of the reason why Trump won in 2016 was because of social media. And they need to attack that. The old legacy media is dying, and the only way they can combat our message and combat a message of truth and patriotism and love and liberty and justice, the only way that they can fight that is by shutting us down, by shutting us up. And this is insane. Let's take a look. This guy, Steve Scully, was going to be the debate moderator on the second debate. Scully once tweeted during the 2016 election a link to a Times op-ed, "No, not Trump, not ever." He served as a backup moderator for all of the fall debates that year. In it, it says, "No, not Trump, not ever." Rating, mostly false. Why? While Scully did once work for Democrat politicians, including Biden, like Trump claimed to Hannity, there is not enough evidence to support the president's assertion that Scully is part of the Never Trump movement. The tweet literally says, "No, not Trump, not ever." And I believe I actually, I'll throw up a link to this. I called this earlier. I talked about this right when this broke, that this guy had posted this tweet, and now it's becoming mainstream. It's absolutely amazing. For those of you who haven't checked out the Donald.win, go check it out. The Donald.win, the Donald.win, the Donald.win. It's an amazing site. When you go to this website, it's like a Reddit. It's the Reddit for Trump. And when you are reading the news, it's crazy, but it's like you're getting the news that the mainstream media is going to be pushing out there like a week in advance. So it's really cool. But again, look at this. This is fact checking. Fact checking. More like BS. Not enough evidence to support. No, not Trump, not ever. I mean, not only did the guy work for Biden, he also worked for a Kennedy, I believe Senator Kennedy. I mean, this is nuts. This is nuts. On to the next story. Okay. So, for those of you who haven't seen this, of course, the debate with Kamala Harris, Mike Pence did a fantastic job. Absolutely amazing. I have a video up about it. You can check it out. I think it'll be in this corner. I'll link it right up here if you haven't seen it. And he wiped the floor with her and did a fantastic job. I can honestly, Mr. Vice President, you did a fantastic job blowing Kamala Harris out of the water. And you know that he won when the mainstream media is talking about that fly that landed on his head as if that's the most amount of substance they were able to get out of that entire debate. He really did. He shellacked her. But with that said, he pressed her on 3 separate occasions, asking whether or not the Democrats would pack the court if Joe Biden won the presidency. This is nuts because there is a separation of powers in the United States of America. And what they want is the executive branch and the judicial branch to essentially be monolithic. They want the executive branch to execute the laws, and then they want the judicial branch to create, to say whether or not something is constitutional or not, and then they can push for things like removing the Second Amendment or amending the way the First Amendment works, or way that they interpret it. So let's take a look at what Joe Biden has to say about voters knowing whether or not he's going to pack the court.
Sir, I've got to ask you about packing the courts. And I know that you said yesterday you aren't going to answer the question until after the election. But this is the number one thing that I've been asked about from viewers in the past couple of days.
Well, you've been asked by the viewers who are probably Republicans who don't want me continuing to talk about what they're doing to the court right now.
Well, sir, don't the voters deserve to know where you stand?
No, they don't. I'm not going to play his game.
Well, you heard it here. The voters do not deserve to know. And this is nuts. Like, as much as people hate Trump and hate a lot of the things that he stands for, mostly it's not even his policies that a lot of people are against, which is the real substance of an administration. They care about the way he acts. They care about the way he presents himself, how he can be too brash, how he can be too outlandish, how he can be too just jubilant and very grandiose in the way that he presents himself to the American people. And I'm here for substance. I'm here for real change. And the fact that he will not go on record stating that he will not pack the court tells you that he's going to pack the court. Because ultimately, if he wasn't going to pack the court, why wouldn't he just say it? I mean, the media continually, I mean, at least some mainstream media news outlets, and probably everywhere he goes, he gets this at least one or two times where people are asking, are you going to pack the court? Are you going to pack the court? And when he doesn't answer, if he just gave an answer, he would no longer be dealing with this question. But he's willing to ride this out for the next, 30 days, less than 30 days, crazy, until the election actually happens. And we need those separation of powers. We have to have a country where every single part of the government, whether it's the judiciary, the executive, or the legislative, actually have a separation of powers so they're not able to basically rule as a monarchy and completely dominate and control our lives. It's nice that each part of the government have to fight among each other, because that makes sure that every single piece of the government never rises to such a strong position of power. With that said, I really just wanted to show you guys this meme. This is basically what's going on right now with millennials. So over here, you have a slaughterhouse, right? You got a beautiful looking girl, right? Gorgeous. Beautiful looking girl, and it says Democrats. Then on her ass, it says free stuff, and then it's got the millennials being pulled to the slaughterhouse. And this is a huge problem because, there really isn't that virtue of hard work anymore. That virtue of saying, hey, you know what? Creating something, being a creator, going out there, getting your hands dirty. There doesn't seem to be that push, that stoic movement anymore. And people ultimately, we're living in the greatest and freest nation in the history of man, in the greatest time of man. Even with all of the chaos going on right now, we are living in basically a utopia. But the left thinks that they can make it better, right? And this is ultimately going to lead to communism. This is going to lead to some super far left radical agenda that is ultimately going to deteriorate and destroy our freedoms and possibly begin what may well be a civil war. Again, for those of you who haven't gotten your fishing rod yet, make sure you got at least 1,000 baits while you go fishing. For each of your fishing rods. I know it's very, very difficult to get bait right now, but I highly recommend it. You always want to be ready. Not to say that that's going to happen, but it's always nice to be safe. Better safe than sorry, right? With that said, on to the next one. Man, Joe Biden is just, and this is why. This what I'm about to show you is another reason why the Democrats are hiding Joe Biden. They do not want him out there campaigning because he's just a gaffe machine. Over and over and over and over again, this man, every time he goes out, there's another story. Now, it's the same deal with Trump, but a lot of the stories that come out about Trump can be fabricated, or they extend the truth, or they half lie and they tell half truths, right? But with Joe Biden, it's like, come on, man. Come on, man. Take a look. So he's got the mask, right? Let's start from the start of the clip. He's got the mask on, okay? Well, I'll just let you listen in.
Deal. The kinds of investment that will stimulate the deal.
Believe the science, guys. Believe the science. Science says when you're going to cough and you have a mask on, which is the whole point of this. The whole point of the coof is that you keep your mask on when you go to coof, right? So he pulls his mask down, he coofs into his hand, and then he puts his hands back onto his mask. Science. Like, what is going on here? This is nuts. They need to do better. This is just I don't even know anymore, guys. This is the party of science. And you know what? Every time I hear that thing, science, you really got to check it out. There's an episode on South Park, and it really is like South Park tells the future. There is a part in South Park where Kyle is teleported to a land where there is no religion. And I hear a lot of this from atheists. Sometimes you hear this from people like Sam Harris, and I respect him a lot, but there's a lot of things I disagree with him on, and this is one of them. He believes that if there was no religion, then there would ultimately be this huge, basis of logic and reason. But humans are emotional creatures. And when you remove religion, you got to replace it with something, and you're going to replace it with science. So what ends up happening, I believe there's two armies. Sorry, I'm off on a tangent here. There's two armies in this episode of ferrets. I believe they were ferrets, okay? Follow me, follow me. Okay, two armies of ferrets, and they're fighting each other, but they're not fighting each other like, say, the Christians and the Muslims would fight each other. Rather, they are fighting each other based on their science. So this particular group believes in a certain type of science, and then this group believes in another type of science, and now they are crashing and fighting each other. And that's a huge problem. Is like, and you see it online, you see it with the social media companies, you see it with the removal of a lot of these articles and the censorship. It's because when the science goes against what their rhetoric is, they remove it. There was a ton of people that posted the new CDC numbers that came out that showed, I think it was like 99.8% of people survived from the coof, and they were removing that. They were removing articles like that. And that just goes to show you it's not about science, it's about control. They don't want the real numbers out. They were citing statistical numbers from the CDC. They didn't write anything else. They simply stated the numbers that were written by the CDC, and they still pulled it down. That should tell you everything you need to know. With that said, I guess that's the show, ladies and gentlemen. If you like this type of content, we're sitting at about a 20-minute show right now. If you like this podcast, the Sanity stream, my name is Lucius Coal. If you like this type of content, go down below. This was a bit of a calmer one, nice and relaxing. I'm really trying to feel out what I want to do in terms of this channel. For some of my videos, actually, let me know down in the comments below. Let me know what you think. I go for two different things. Obviously, I want to entertain you, but I want to keep you informed. So, do you like this type of speaking style? Do you like it when I'm a little bit more crazy, a little bit more verbose? Do you like it when I'm simply here with the facts? Do you like this type of resonance, this type of voice tone? Obviously, I don't want to be fake, but at the same time, I do love to entertain, and I want to keep you entertained, and I want to have you here throughout the entire podcast enjoying the show. So let me know down in the comments below what you think. Like, subscribe, comment, and share if you think I've earned it. I'm working very, very hard to try to make sure that this content is getting out to the most amount of people possible, and it's people like you that are watching this right now that I appreciate so very, very much. With that said, if you enjoyed this, I'll see you in the next one. I love you guys. Peace. Coltrane. Choo-choo!